But let's move forward onto the show, and today is Friday, so let's go across to Kunal and understand from him what interesting topic he got for us onto the Pathshala. Take it away, Kunal.
Thank you so much, Srishti. So today's topic on Pathshala is rounding bottoms, and rounding bottoms are important concepts because it tries to amalgamate a couple of features for the trend analysis. One is a downtrend, then a time-wise correction or a consolidation, and then a slow and steady or a gradual uptrend which comes by into the stock. So what we've done is we've just given you a simple enumeration of how a rounding bottom pattern generally shapes up. So initially there is a phase of downtrend. By that I mean candlestick pattern which is bearish in nature. Then comes a zone where the stock gets into a time-wise correction or consolidation, forms a base, tries to retest multiple supports or the same support multiple times. And every time the stock manages to retest the major support point, it tends to bounce off from those levels. So this re-establishes the fact that this becomes a strong demand zone, and then comes a phase of the stock going into an uptrend. So I've taken two examples over here. The first example which I've covered is Axis Bank. The stock, just very recently in 2023 start went into a corrective phase. So from 950-60 mark. Approximately over here, the stock corrected more than 10%, came back towards I think 820, 830 levels. Look at the sharp downtrend, the number of bearish candlesticks over here, and look at the mix of candlestick patterns which happens in the phase of consolidation. So when a stock goes into a consolidation, this is what we call as a range bound action for the stock price, and we then tend to wait out for which side the stock tends to break out. If the breakout happens on the upside, then we expect that this pattern is more of a rounding bottom pattern and the stock gets into an uptrend mode. And look at the way the stock, which fell off from 970 levels, came back towards 820 mark and come back about the 970 mark. So this is a very strong indication of how rounding bottom pattern shapes up. I've taken one more example of AB Capital. One of the very recent charts for AB Capital when the stock was at 2-digit levels. This is more of a contracted rounding bottom pattern because after a very sharp downtrend, the stock consolidated, retested the zone. As you can see that this major support level was tested twice. So this was the zone where the stock tested twice, and on both attempts the stock managed to take a big support and then found a rounding bottom pattern and then managed to shape up higher. So this is how classical rounding bottom pattern shapes up. It's an indication of a sharp downtrend, a time-wise correction, and then a major uptrend which could begin into the stock.
All right, so that's something new that we've learned in the BNSN Pathshala today. That's rounding of bottom. But Kunal, let's talk about the markets then. I did ask you a question. I hope you agree with the fact that we are in consolidatory phase, or how else would you term the market movement then?
I think we are into a consolidation as such, Cheryl, but I think what we need to actually watch out for is that whether there is shorting of positions which happens into this phase of consolidation. Yesterday was the first day where we saw some bit of open interest rise in the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, and that could probably play a spoil sport for the index over the near term, because if we tend to see an incremental rise of shorting of the index futures, it generally pauses the trend and leads into the index going into a sluggish downtrend for some more days. So let's hope that we don't see that kind of a signal today on the index, and if we manage to sustain about that 18,600 mark, hopefully we can see that new high very soon.
Right, so hopefully we should be able to sustain the 18,600 mark. For now, you have the benchmarks that are testing those levels. Thank you so much for that, Kunal, and we